I want to do a real quick update, let you know what my doctor shared with me in my pre-op appointment. So if you're planning for back surgery, a lumbar fusion, it might be helpful for you. I know I watched a ton of these videos before I finally came to the decision to make my own, have my own surgery done. So my final pre-op appointment was yesterday. It went awesome. I love, 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 and trust my doctor. And I feel like God's hands are in this all over the place. So I'm excited to move forward. And the doctor thought it was funny when I said that. He said, well, if you've gotten to the point where you're excited for a surgery this massive, then that means that you're really miserable. So my soul and my mind are not miserable, but my body has been miserable for years and years. And I have lost a quality of life from not being able to do all of the things in nature that I love to do. So I'm excited. In less than 2 days, I am going to be already out of surgery. So he went over some of the details. I got to ask him some questions. Because they're going in through the front, they're doing an ALIF first. They're going to go in through the front. An approach surgeon is going to do that. So not my spine surgeon, but another surgeon is going to do the approach to the spine. And then my spine surgeon will take over and scrape out whatever little bit of disc is left. He'll put a cage in there. And we are hoping and praying that God allows this part to happen, because my anatomy, I'll put a picture of my x-ray up right now, but you can see that my anatomy at the L5-S1 is really, really, really tilted, almost too tilted, because it's been broken for so long and it slipped forward so much and really thrown off the proper structure of how my spine is supposed to be. So they're going to try to come in through the front, hoping and praying that they can make it happen. They'll stick a cage in there so that they can lift the bones off the nerves that are being crushed. And then they'll put all my guts back in place and stitch me up. And I found out that on my birthday, I get to have, I'm joking, it's going to be a crap load of fun. I don't usually talk like that, but it's going to be a pretty crappy birthday, because I have to drink this whole bottle of stuff. And if this whole bottle of stuff doesn't clear my guts out, I have to drink a second whole bottle of stuff. So I'm going to be having all kinds of fun on my birthday. I did want to have a bunch of friends over, but I'm going to have to put that off apparently, because the toilet, I guess I've heard, is going to be my friends. I don't know if you have ever had to prepare anything for a colonoscopy, but because I haven't, this is my first time doing this, they're not doing a colonoscopy, but because they are going to be pushing my guts aside, they want to make sure they're as empty as possible. And in case there's any accidental, which I pray to God there's not, perforation of the bowel, there won't be anything that's leaking into my body to cause a humongous infection. So I'm not looking forward to this on my birthday. That is not how I wanted to spend my birthday. Anyways, it is what it is, and it's part of this surgery that I'm hopefully going to be able to get that front access. So I'm not going to actually know until I wake up in recovery whether they were able to reach everything they needed to reach in the front and replace that disc. Then if everything goes as planned and they are able to put that cage in, get my guts back in place, stitch me up in the front, and then they're going to flip me over, and then they will do minimally invasive. Thankfully, this surgeon does minimally invasive. So some of the other surgeons that I consulted with, they were going to do one long, like 6 or 7 inch cut all the way through the skin, the muscles, everything, scrape away, pull away, all the way down to the bone, causing tons and tons of damage. This surgeon is awesome. He does minimally invasive. So just 2 little, like 2-inch incisions on either side of the mid of my spine. He's going to go on either side and just uses instrumentation to do everything he needs to do through those. And it's more of a separating of the muscle to get the little tube through than it is cutting the muscle all the way. So the recovery is a lot quicker and easier, not quick and easy. It's still really hard and long, but it's quicker and easier with fewer complications than when they do that one long incision, cutting all the muscle and everything. So I'm really thankful for that. Not thankful for this. Really thankful for the minimally invasive surgery. He said this one, people usually just stay in the hospital for one night. They want to get me managed and settled on pain meds to control the pain for when I go home. And I thankfully have so much confidence in this surgeon and his history and experience and knowledge and personality and bedside manner and everything. He's just so great. So we feel totally safe with him and with his physician's assistants and the whole process. And he really is very much about getting back to life. So I'll link down below. This is a follow-up to my first video. I'm going to link down below in the description my first pre-op video that tells the longer story of why I've decided to get this done. But basically, I've gone from being a competitive endurance athlete, like long, not just a couple mile runs, like long runs. I was training for a 100-miler before all this started happening with my back. Mountain biking, backpacking, snowboarding, cycling, triathlons, hiking. Like, I just love being out in nature, and I have not been able to do that very much the last few years. And it's gotten to the point where I can't even do a lot of the housework and chores around our little hobby farm. So when I say I'm excited, that's why I'm excited, is because he has so many patients that used to be active that get back to it after a year. Now, again, he reminded us that the first 2 weeks, he kind of jokes, but kind of doesn't, that I'm going to hate him and hate making the decision and regret everything that I've ever done that caused this surgery. But he said, just push through those 2 weeks and then it'll start to get better and I'll start to notice improvements. And he said the first 3 months, it's the no bending, lifting, twisting to really help that bone fuse and grow. And then they'll start lifting some restrictions at 3 months. And then at 6 months, they lift most of the restrictions. I should be able to do most of the things that I want to do. And then at the full year, he said, is when most of his patients feel that they are better than they've ever been and that they're completely healed. So, I have learned through our son's cancer journey that these situations like this are a marathon. They're not a sprint. I've run marathons, so I know what that mentally and physically takes. But I'm also a very type A personality, so I love to just have a goal and like do it. Like, I want to do the surgery and be all healed up and be backpacking again. But that's just not the reality of this surgery. So I am relying on the Lord's strength for everything. And Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, is the little motto I keep running through my head, and the numbers that God keeps showing me. So I'm trusting that God is in control. I'm trusting the hands of my surgeon. I'm trusting that God's going to have his hands in there with the surgeon, and that recovery is going to go as well as it can. I'm praying that it's going to go great. I'm going to do all the right things and follow all the rules. And I am planning to stay up on pain medication. I know that that's a controversial subject for a lot of people, and I know that's a sensitive topic. But I've never had a problem with pain medication. I've only actually taken it once in my life, like a narcotic type prescription pain medication. And it was because I really needed it because of bulging discs in my neck. I could not do anything. So what I've been reading in a lot of forums for lumbar surgeries is like, this is what pain medicine was created for. It was created for massive traumatic levels of pain, which people experience after lumbar fusion surgery. So our bodies are created to heal themselves in many ways and on many levels. And it's easier for the body to do that if it's not under the stress of experiencing massive pain. So I am planning to not use them forever, but not try to rush to get off of them as quick as I can either. I'm going to really gauge my pain. I'm going to reword that. I do want to get off of them as quick as possible, but I'm not going to like 2 days after the surgery go, oh, I wonder if I can go without them now. Like, I want to give myself a solid week or two to see like what the level of pain is. And I'm also praying that God is going to make this not such a drastically, dramatically horrific, painful experience. Although, like I said in my other video, is that as an endurance athlete, I intentionally go out and do things that I know are going to cause pain, but I push through it. So I feel I've kind of trained my brain for this situation anyways, and I'm praying that God will be faithful and right there with me, as I know he will be. So I hope that this video provided you a little bit more information if you're questioning whether you should or shouldn't have back surgery. The surgeon, again, he confirmed like you have done everything and more that you could to try to avoid back surgery. I've done physical therapy, I've done injections, I've done Bowen therapy, I've done massage and chiropractic, I've done ice and pain medications and cutting back on activities. And now I'm to the point where if I just want to sit on the couch the rest of my life, then I'll probably be fine and definitely wouldn't need surgery. But I don't want to do that. I want to be up with my family and my teenagers having fun. I want to be working around my hobby farm. I want to go for walks and runs and hikes and backpack and ride my bike again. And I want to do all those things. So I believe that God's given me this resource and a great surgeon to be able to make that possible. And I'm super grateful for that. You can put any questions down in the comments below. You can share your experience about what you're facing and, the tension that you're maybe going through. I went through years of tension and battling different fearful thoughts of all the bad stories that we read, all the bad stories I'm sure you've read about spinal fusion. But really, I believe it's in the hands of the Lord, and He's gonna do great things. So please comment down below with any questions, concerns, any encouragement. I'm open to encouragement too, or positive stories. I think those are great to share because there's not enough of them on. And one big piece, I don't know if I said this in the first video, one of the biggest pieces for me that has helped me move forward in choosing surgery, there's many, but one of them is the reminder that most of the people that are in the forums of Facebook or YouTube or websites where we're reading all these scary stories, most of them are people that have had really bad experiences, but they're not the 80-90% of people that have had successful surgeries because they're out living life again. They don't need to hang out in support forums. So those of us that are seeking whether we should do surgery or not, go to those forums and read all those bad stories, and then we can get discouraged. So I just want to speak encouragement into you and hope that do the research, find a great doctor, see if fusion is really the best option. I had 4 surgeons say that that was the option for me because I have a broken back with the vertebrae are slipped, the nerves are crunched, the discs are gone. So it really is the best option in my situation. It's unstable, it's moving around. It's time to get it done. Less than 2 days, I'm going to get it done. Tomorrow, I'm going to be drinking this. Yay. And then moving on with the rest of my surgery and recovery. So I'm hoping and planning to do more updates like this at, I don't know what increments yet, but just increments that are helpful to those of you who are seeking whether or not you should do surgery. And I want to hopefully be able to speak hope into the darkness of what we find online about these surgeries. That's it for now. That's a summary of my pre-op appointment, my final pre-op appointment yesterday. Again, comment below. You can search my channel for if you like faith-filled content about how to draw closer to God or study your Bible or how to pray, all those things. That's the type of stuff I normally do. But I wanted to come on and start doing some back series for people that have been in the situation I have been in the last several years. So I pray this has been a blessing to you and helpful, and that you get some clarity on what you should do in your situation. Until next time, bye.